Well, hello, welcome again to a reading through of Iliad, book 22, and I got up to the top of the page here, which is line 51, I think, or 52. So at this stage, we're in the middle or part way through the speech of Priam. He sees his son Hektor outside of the walls and he's begging him to come inside. And he's been talking about his other two sons, who the audience knows as dead, but he doesn't know that yet. And it continues on from there. So Eide tethnasi kai ein aida domoisi. So if they are already dead and in the houses of Hades, it's ein for n, and of course it's going with the domoisi, and this is a genitive here. So if they are already dead and in the houses of Hades, literally, now the main verb is here, there will be grief to my thumos, to my heart, and to their mother, we who bore them. This is from Hektor, it's the aorist here, so we who bore them, and for the rest of the people, there will be grief, but it's minus thadioteron, a comparative. It means lasting for a little bit of time. You get minuntha words with that in it there, meaning for a short time. So fleeting. So for the rest of the host, the grief will be fleeting. The point is here that if the other sons are dead, well, it'll cause a bit of grief and sorrow to the other Trojans. But ein may, except in the case when you also have died, having been tamed by Achilles. So he's addressing this to Hektor. So he's saying the others, well, they'll be upset for a little bit, but it'll be short-lived unless, ein may, for e'an may, so unless you also die, having been tamed, aorist passive participle here by Achilles. Come, es erkio tekos, come inside the wall, emon tekos, my child. Ophra, so oathses, in order that you might protect or keep safe the Trojan men and the Trojan women. We get Mayday plus a subjunctive here as an order, so do not extend, do not give, do not hand out, from Arego, do not hand out great glory to the son of Peleus, do not give great glory to the son of Peleus. And you yourself, now this is from Amerdo, I deprive, but this is an aorist passive subjunctive. So you yourself be deprived of your own life, or your dear life. Ion has a lot of meaning in later Greek, but in Homer it generally means life. It comes to mean later a period of time, and it has all sorts of other overtones in later Greek, but here it's just life. And you yourself, so it's really with this maida, you yourself do not be deprived, so do not be deprived of your own or your dear life. Proste emeton dustenon eti phroniunt eleison. Now the pros here I think is adverbial, so something like pros de, and in addition to this, have pity, imperative from eleio, have pity upon wretched me, or me the wretched one, who is still phronionta, still in my right mind. So I still sentient, still thinking. In other words, he's not become gaga at this point. Dusmeron, ill-fated one that I am. So in addition, have pity upon wretched me, while I am still sentient, while I still have my senses, me the ill-fated one. The moros is your portion, connected with a verb meromai, So it means your portion in life, hence your fate, and then the dus, ill-fated. I whom, whom then, or accordingly, the father, the son of Kronos, Thesei, will destroy on the edge. Epi is going with the udo. It's a Homeric expression here. It's on the edge of old age. So he's destroyed me in Isa with a harsh fate. So whom, father, the son of Kronos, Thesei, it's future from Phtheno, I think, or Phtheo or Phtheno, will destroy with a harsh fate me at the edge of old age. Ep idonta, now this is tricky here, it's not epidonta, it's ep plus idonta. So looking on, so sort of having, well, it's an aorist here, having looked upon polakaka, many evil things. So just note that's a bit tricky. It's epi plus the id root. So me having not epi and with the didomi, it's epi plus the horao root. So me having looked upon many evils. And now he lists what sorts of evils he would look upon if Troy is taken, or if Hector dies and Troy is taken. So these evils are, and he lists them with lots of tets and kais in between. My sons destroyed, and my daughters helkethesas, having been dragged out from helko. This is a passive participle here, aorist passive participle. My daughters having been dragged off, i.e. dragged off to be sold or as concubines and so on. My thalamus, my rooms, it's often used of bedrooms and things, but my rooms of my house basically, kera idzominus, well, torn to pieces, so plundered, despoiled, from kera isdo. This is a passive participle here. Young children being cast, proti for pros, to the ground in the grim battle, in the fierce battle, fighting. Nuos is daughter-in-law, and my daughters-in-law being dragged off under the destructive hands of being dragged off by the destructive hands of the Achaeans. Auton dan pumaton me, and me, myself, pumaton, last of all, the kunes, the dogs, the omestoi. Now you get omos, word adjective meaning savage, so this is the savage dogs. This is the first declension omestes, the savage ones. So the savage dogs will drag me, at the entrance to the door, literally the first doors, so perhaps at the outer doors, when someone this is from Tukto, having struck me and having hit me, now the ket goes with the subjunctive, would take away, and the ek goes with this as well, so would take away my sthumos, my life, rethion, from rethos, from my limbs. So when someone with their cruel bronze, with their sharp bronze, with their sharp sword, metonymy here, having struck and hit me, would take away the life from my limbs, then we've got the antecedent of the hus is these dogs, I think. Then these dogs whom Trephon, it's imperfect here from Trepho, I used to rear in the halls, these dogs which were trapedzeas, well, perhaps fed from the table, so sort of table dogs, thura orus, guardians of the door. It's only here apparently. Guardians of the door. They now the alesontes means to go crazy, and I think the perithumo is the peri in that sense of exceedingly in their heart. So the dogs, having gone mad, having drunk my blood, having gone mad, perithumo, perhaps very much in their heart. So some people translate this as very angrily or something. So there was the belief that if you drank blood, then it sent you crazy. So these dogs, having drunk my blood, having gone exceedingly crazy in their heart, they will lie at the prothuroisi, at the front doors. Now this next section here, 71b up to 76, these verses bear a remarkable resemblance to a poem by Tertius, and it's thought by many scholars to be an interpolation. Alternatively, Tertius might have been borrowing from Homer, if Tertius, we're not clear where Tertius comes exactly in date, or they both might be borrowing from a common source. It's a very sad poem by Tertius, and it picks up here. It's a military poem, and this is very similar language and very similar thoughts to that poem, which you might like to look up if you're interested in that. So it's the subject here is panta. All things are reasonable or appropriate, something like that. All is fine. All is appropriate for a young man having been killed in war. You get the array here and the katamine. It's middle for passive, which you do get in Homer, and you get passive for middle. So all is reasonable when a young man is killed in battle. All things are written for a young man. Case thigh is the infinitive. So it's reasonable for a young man, completely reasonable for a young man to lie there, killed in battle. Dedaig meno, this is from the verb da isdo, if you're looking it up, perfect passive participle here. Torn to pieces, it means to rend, often the flesh. It's a very unpleasant word, da isdo. So torn to pieces by the sharp sword, or by the sharp bronze and hence sharp sword. All things are beautiful for him, so even for him having died, so even though he's dead, all things are fair, whatsoever might be seen, whatever part appears visible. It's a little bit like, but not exactly like, whatever befalls. So whatever, given what's coming up next, so whatever state he's in, however he might appear, all things are fair for him even though he's dead. So the idea being that if a young man dies in battle, this is a noble thing, and even though he might be in a pretty terrible way, cut to pieces and so on, it's still a fair thing. And then that's in contrast then with what happens to an old man. But, and this is a very strong but indeed when, now we've got to take the kunes next, I think, when a dog, iskounosi, this is subjunctive here, when a dog disfigures, I think it's brings shame upon, I think disfigures, makes ugly, the grey head and the grey beard and the genitals, the ido, plural, the genitals of an old man who is has been killed. Again, middle for passive here. This is a genitive here. So, so this indeed is, this is Pelomai, often used just like the verb to be, so this is most piteous for mortal men. So just to do that bit again, it's a little bit tricky. So so all things seem seem proper for a young man to lie there, having been killed in battle, having been well, it's almost ripped to pieces by the sharp sword. So even though he is dead, all things are fair, all things are beautiful, whatsoever thing might be seen. But when indeed, now you could actually take the last bit first, but this is indeed a most piteous thing for mortal men, when indeed the dogs disfigure or make ugly the grey head and grey beard and the genitals of an old man who is dead. That is the part that's very similar to this very famous poem of Tertius. That's the end of the speech of Priam, and then he says, Era hogeron. And thus the old man spoke. There's that air here from that old verb aimi, to say, so thus spoke the old man. And Hektor, literally he dragged the grey hairs, so he dragged up the grey hairs with his hands, so we'd say he pulled out the grey hairs with his hands, Tilone plucking them, ek kephales, from his head. And then the very poignant line here, Ud Hektori thumon epatha, nor did he persuade the heart for Hector. So all his words are in vain. The next speech is going to be from his mother. So I've had the speech of his father, Priam, and then his mother is going to give the next speech, and that'll be in the next recording.